Hey guys, Ronnie and Ann here from Cold Blade Creations. In today's video, we're going to be talking about rat racks and mouse breeding racks. More specifically, we're going to talk to you about the maintenance that you need to be doing on your automatic watering systems. Every time you change over your breeder colony of mice or rats, you want to do some maintenance on your watering system so that your tubs don't end up having a disaster.
And if you want to learn how to build any of these racks or assemble the water systems, we have both videos linked in the description so you guys can check that out.
All right, so it is time for us to replace our breeder mice that is in this rack. They're due to be replaced in March. And we have our automatic watering system hooked up here. Now, as you can see, there's some spider webs that have accumulated around these. So what we want to do is take this water system apart, and we want to completely clean and disinfect the system. Also, these valves here, we have disconnected them. Now, we place our water valves, if you can see here, they're in where our feeders are. Here's where our feed is held. And what you want to do is just simply unhook every one of these valves from your wire, unhook them and lay them aside. And then we're going to go up here, up top, and we're going to disconnect this right here simply by turning it counterclockwise and disassembling it from our bucket like so. Now we can take our bucket down, and we're going to start by cleaning that. All right, so we took our bucket apart, we unhooked the water system. Now we're bringing this out, and obviously we've got a lot of spider webs and dirt that's accumulated on our bucket lid. We also have a little bit of algae that's formed in our bucket. We're going to go ahead and clean this bucket and the lid both inside and out. We're going to disinfect it, and then we'll show you the next step. So if you use the water kit that we sell on our website, it'll come with these tiny little clips that you fasten to the rack. We're going to go ahead, we're going to remove the screws in those and take this down. Now, a little piece of advice, take these screws out because they are tiny, they're easy to lose. So what I like to do is once I take the screw out, I just go ahead and put it right back in the rack where it was and work your way down. Simply remove the screw, get a finger on it so that you don't drop it like I just did, and bend down here, pick it up, take it and put it back. Now we use one of these screws on every tub. In our kit, we send 6 of these because our rack is designed for 6 mouse tubs. So go ahead, take these little screws out, put them back in place, and then we'll take the system apart and clean it.
Okay, so while he is cleaning the water system, I've already taken all of the mice out of these black tubs. And so I'm going to remove the tubs, dump all the bedding, wash them, and then I'm going to take a vacuum cleaner and vacuum this entire thing so it's nice and clean when he brings the water system back.
All right, so the next thing we do, we got our bucket all nice and clean on the inside and the outside. Next thing we want to do is remove this right here. That is done by unscrewing it here from the inside. And we're going to go ahead, unscrew it. We're going to pull this out of our bucket simply by unscrewing it. And then what we want to do is just examine it, make sure we don't have any trash in the threads in here, and we want to clean any algae off of this piece here, and then we'll reinstall it back in our bucket. All right, guys, one of the things you want to inspect while you have this off of your bucket, we removed this right here. You want to check this little rubber gasket here. This is what creates your seal. You want to check it, make sure it's clean. of any type of sand or spider webs or dirt or anything, because if this thing here gets damaged, your bucket will leak. Now, if you have a leak and this thing here doesn't seem to be stopping it, you can simply go to a hardware store like Lowe's. You can buy one of these little rubber gaskets. You could also use a rubber flat washer of the appropriate size, just something to get a good tight seal so that you don't have any water leakage. All right, so next we've got this put back in. What we want to do is check for leaks. Now, the way we're going to do this, and a very simple way to see if this thing is leaking, is to just take a piece of newspaper and place it underneath your bucket like so. We're going to fill this bucket up with water till it comes above this piece here. Now again, you don't have to fill your bucket up all the way. In fact, I recommend that you do not, simply because it'll be very heavy for you to place it back on top of your rack. We simply want to put just enough water in this bucket so that we can check for leaks. And as you can see here, we've gotten a little bit of water on our newspaper. So we want to just go ahead, reach in here and tighten this up. There is a nut on the back of this on the inside here. We're just going to reach back in here and we're going to tighten that up until we no longer have any leakage. So it looks like we're good. Looks like we have no more leakage. So now we'll go ahead and place this part back on our rack. So the next thing we're going to do is disassemble our line. Now when we take it off, it's all in one piece. We have all 6 of our lines. You'll notice that these little pieces here, I left these on. I don't recommend removing these. Leave these in place. That way it'll make it easier to assemble this when you're done. But one of the first things we want to do is remove every one of these water valves. And then we want to place these in some kind of container just to hold them. And we're going to work our way down. All you do is grab these, pull, and separate them. And we're going to work our way all the way down our water system here to remove every one of these from all 6 of our tubs. So now we have this here. We're going to go ahead and wash this tubing. We're going to just clean the spider webs and all off. There's really not a need to worry about cleaning the inside because no dirt could get into the inside because all of the water valves were plugging the holes, as well as this part here was in our bucket. So we're going to go ahead and just wipe the spider webs down, wash these up, and then we're going to place our focus on the most important part of this operation, and that's cleaning each individual valve. So now that this right here is all clean, we're going to set these aside. These guys are cleaned up, look like they did when they were brand new. We're going to put our attention on these water valves. Now, one of the first things we want to do is to remove the clips. And I just like to separate these in 2 different piles. The clips right here, you can clean these. Every now and then you'll get a little bit of, you see like there's some algae right there. Not a lot. We just want to kind of wipe these down, clean these up, and spray these off. And we'll do that to every one of these. The most important part about this whole operation are these right here. These things here, if they get dirty, there's a couple things that can happen. Number one, they will drip continuously, and that will result in tubs that are flooded. Believe it or not, 5 gallons of water will flood a mouse tub or a rat tub. So that's why it's important to do this. The other problem that it can be is that there's no water that comes out of these, and you think your mice are getting water when in fact they're thirsty. And that's why it's important to do this. Now we're going to start by taking this apart. Simply grab it right here, and if you don't have strong fingers, you may need to use a wrench, but usually you could just take your hands, grip this tight, and twist until this separates. Now you want to be careful once you separate these because there are some little rubber valves, so set these aside very gently. And then you want to remove this spring. Now, usually if you have a valve that is leaking, is dripping water constantly, it's because you have a dirty spring. These springs can come apart. So what I recommend doing is just simply taking your fingernail, scratching these, making sure these guys are good and clean, they have no algae buildup on them, and then take your spring and spray it. Make sure that your spring is completely nice and clean, and then place your spring back on here. Now, I like to take these two separate pieces and blow water through them. Don't blow this way. In other words, don't blow water through the small end, because you will blow out that rubber gasket. Instead, hold it this way and blow your water like so. The same with these. Don't blow in the opposite direction, because there is a tiny little gasket in there. You want to blow in the same direction that the water would normally flow. Once you have this clean, simply take this part here. You want to put your needle valve back through like so with your clean spring. Go ahead and put these back together like so. And then if you have one of these here that you have already cleaned off, go ahead, wipe it down real good, clean off any algae or anything that's on here. And ours are not really dirty because we do this a lot. We're just doing this for a demonstration on this video, but sometimes all this stuff can get really mucky if you don't do it regularly. And unfortunately, we don't have any really dirty water systems to show you what they look like, but trust me on this, if you do, you'll understand. Go ahead and put this back like so, and then you can simply grab this, your water tubing, go ahead and reattach that, and you're finished. Repeat the same process on the other 5, and you'll be ready to assemble this all back together. Guys, on a side note, if you put your water system back together and it is leaking after you've cleaned it, this right here is probably your culprit. This tiny little fitting right here actually sits down inside of this piece here. If you're having any leakage, then what you probably have is this part's missing. Simply take it and put it back down in here, or you can stick it over this part right here and place it back like this, and it seats like that. That's what stops water from leaking. And then go ahead and reassemble. If you can't find that washer, because sometimes if it falls out, if you do this outside, it could fall in the grass or something. We do have replacement washers on our website, or just contact us and we'll get one of those out to you. If you've bought your water system from us, we will certainly replace these for you when needed if you lose one of those. So anyway, if you have any leaks, that's probably what's causing it. So now we're going to take our clean bucket. We have no leaks anymore. We're going to come up here and start by replacing this bucket back up here on top of our rack. And we're going to center this little valve out toward the front. And then we're going to go ahead and add some more water. This is the reason why I told you not to fill your bucket up. They're really, really heavy when they're full. I like to fill them up manually using water recycled milk cartons, milk jugs, whatever you call these things. And we're going to go ahead and put some water back in this thing. And once again, we're going to check for leaks and make sure we have no leaks up at the top. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to reattach this. Now, I'm going to give you, from our experience, let me guide you here. Do this before you replace your tubs. In other words, you want to do this without having any tubs in your rack. Go up and go ahead and reattach this piece to your bucket. And then we're just going to allow this to drop down for a moment. Now, earlier I told you to put those screws back in the exact location where they were. Now we're just going to simply go back and work in a bit of a reverse order. Here is our bottom piece here. We're going to go ahead and drape these out of the way momentarily. I want to go ahead and remove this screw here. This is our bottom screw. And we're going to go ahead and reattach this piece. Now once we've done that, I want to take this piece. Now normally it would go and attach here. I like to just drape it out the front. Likewise, we're going to work our way up. Go ahead and remove this screw. We're going to find that clip, put our screw back through, and reattach it. And once again, we're going to drip this over the front, and we're going to work our way up. All right, so we got our water hooked back up. We've got all these screwed in. Now, the reason I told you to drape these over the front, because this is a gravity-fed system, the water's coming from the bucket, gravity feeding down. So what we want to do is let air out of our system, one tub place at a time. You do that by simply pressing on this. As you can see here now, we've got water drippage. We move down to the next one. We mash that little needle valve. We're just pushing on it slightly, and you can hear the air leaving the system, and then water will start to drip out. We want to move our way down. Just take the tip of your finger. You can hear the air leaving, and now we've got water coming down each one of these. Now the reason you want to do this is because if you have a leak in one of these, you want to be able to notice it before you put your tubs back in. So now that we know all of these have water, we want to watch them for a moment and just see if we have any drips. If you do have drips, chances are that little rubber seal is missing. It probably fell out when you were taking them apart. You want to check that and replace it. Or you just want to go back and make sure you clean those springs really well. If those springs are dirty, that will cause these to drip. Sometimes if they get extremely dirty, it'll clog them up. So if you're not getting any water, simply unhook your water up top, remove these, recheck it, make sure that everything looks good, set it back up, and now you're ready to start placing your tubs back in. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to put a tub in, and then we're going to reattach our water system like so. Now I like to start from the bottom and work my way up simply because my hands are kind of big and it's hard to get my hands in here when another tub's in place. So I like a good open space. I can go ahead and pull the feed back, reattach the water, and I'm going to work my way up from here. And that's pretty much all there is to it, guys. This is how you do your maintenance. Now, I recommend you do this at least every time you change out your breeders. You can certainly do this anytime you want and as often as needed.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that this video was helpful for all of you.
And if you want any replacement parts, or if you need help building one of these, once again, we'll link the video down in the description, as well as a link to get any of these parts from our website. Thank you guys for watching.